into these other topics, there was something I had to come in here and get on. I don't know if Sailor Mermaid in the room, but I'm about to get in on your friend, Miss Nico Aesthetics. And, she and I are friends too, but I got a windmill on her for a minute because there was a recent video that she did regarding talking about Tokeyo, who I actually met and hung out with back when I lived in LA. When he was dancing at the Vita, I was living in LA. A friend of mine used to be, do the photography. Shout out to David Laugh. He used to he used to work at the Vita and would do like the photos and stuff. I was hanging out with VIP with the House of Abalone. Sometimes I was hanging out also, no relation. Child, I was an Abalone long before they were. But I was hanging out with the House of Abalone. And also, because it was a bunch of VIP sections. And also I was hanging out with like a lot of the adult performers that were there. That's how I also met Nick Mask, who was on, he's done a bunch of reality shows, but he was on For the Love of Dill season 2. So I was like, yeah, when you play in the gay space of West Hollywood and stuff, you will run into a lot of those influencer girls when you out there. So Tokeyo was out there. I don't remember if he was a go-go dancer or if he was a promoter or something or another, but he was performing there. And I heard he's got like a lit party out in West Hollywood right now. With his regular party. I forget what it's called, but it was mentioned in Matt Cullen's show. And there was another thing too. Nico, if you're going to reference people, you need to reference and give people they shine. And somebody, he was on some podcast. He was on Matt Cullen's show. So if you're going to use people's stuff, in general, for people who get in this space, I think in the future, y'all all need to reference whose stuff y'all use. And it ain't going to cost you nothing to do that. Like Jennifer Lopez said, her love don't cost a thing. It do not cost you nothing to give a reference or two. So he went and did a whole video or something on something that Tokeyo said in regards of him feeling like he was glorifying prison to the point where he was like, oh, he loved it so much because of how he was being treated by the male inmates and how he was, getting his, how he would get, I guess the relationship was transactional that, he was giving a little no to Ben in exchange for things, drugs, cigarettes, things of that nature. And he loved it so much, he stayed up in prison a little longer, saying that he was into that. Prison was like Disneyland. So I want to come back and show y'all this clip if you have not seen it. And I want to give my overall take on this story. So hold on.
Prison was so much fun that I ended up doing a whole 3 years. Don't quote me on it being fun because I'm supposed to never ever say it. My mom actually told me never ever said. Now I'm saying in the interview, I enjoyed it. Like I know that it's not like normal for somebody to say they enjoy being in prison or jail, but I enjoyed it. Imagine going to like Disneyland. Like imagine like we be seeing all these men like on the streets or in the hood or like blah blah, and they're just not accessible because there's bad out here. Why guys don't want to? Because there's some bad out there and they like pussy, so they ain't gonna fuck us. But imagine these fine asses behind bars, never able to even smell the scent of some pussy, but all they get is
your pussy.
Okay, cunts. And so that's honestly what made it fun for me. Like I milked it for all it was worth. I was only supposed to do a year and a half, but I ended up doing a whole 3 years, and I was getting down silly by the finest. Like, oh my.
Were you forced to be sober there too?
No. I was a bad bitch in prison. Like prison was like fun. I was fucking on the hottest and the most powerful in there. So yeah, they were bringing in like weed, cell phones, all that shit. And I would get a piece because my throw game is silly. So I give a nigga this neck and he would give me his left organ. Like it was silly. So no, I never went without anything. Like I remember I had Jordans, I had to weed. Like I was taken care of. Prison was so.
Yeah, so basically I want to show y'all that clip because I watched the whole interview because I am a fan of Matt Cullen's work. I think he does phenomenal work in regards of showing what a lot of people who are in the LGBTQIA plus space is going through. And I love especially that he sheds so much light on trans stories and stuff too. So I like this. I thought this was a relatively good interview. And also he did an interview with Crush Daddy, a couple of episodes, which was really good too. Child, I got the biggest crush on Crush Daddy. But but nevertheless, when he was coming in on this, what I did not like about Nico's video is they basically, what you was doing was transactional. On the surface, yes. That, oh yeah, he was basically just getting a lot of whatever he needed to get out of the situation from those people. It's like, yeah, you was getting Jordans, you was getting drugs, you was getting all this other stuff. And he was a drug addict at the time because he said that he did crystal meth and how he said, I came, I farted, and he did something all this at the same time. And I threw up at the same time when he first tried meth. I cackled when he said that. So one of the things people have to realize, Tokeyo's personality has always been a little bit over the top and larger than life. So, but he also comes from a troubled childhood. So it made me understand, like, what he was referring to, why he was saying, oh, I was having fun in jail. He was loving getting all the attention because even, on the surface, jail is a bad place to go and all this other stuff. And when you look at it on that surface level, if you get deeper into the whole prison thing, it's, how do I explain this? It's, I guess, a sense of community in a way. And when you, the baddest bitch walking up in there, you got body, you cute, you openly gay, you living your life. The boys, the dudes, the ones that, yeah, they be up in there lifting weights and stuff all day. They want the baddest bitch on their arm. They ain't getting out of prison. So when you got that fantasy also of like, you like them hood ninjas that you grew up with in the hood or whatever, because here's the thing, I can relate because I'm from the hood. I was born and raised in Brownsville, Brooklyn. So I relate to what a lot of Tokeyo was saying. And what I guess irritated me was that I feel like because Nico, that's not your background, you kind of was looking down on ratchet sex workers. Because once upon a time, says you was not a sex worker, but now all of a sudden because you was talking about him so much, and this is not a read, I'm just saying, just because you was you've been talking about him so much, then you decide at one point, if you can't beat him, join him, because people was reading you, oh, you got all this to say about the adult performers, but now you want to join in, and that's your prerogative. You make your coins how you want to make your coins, but I just feel like it just came across a bit classist in the way he was going in on this topic, and had the nerve to equate it with what ATL Tay is dealing with in jail. That's a whole nother situation. Now, ATL Tay is locked up because I think he was speeding down the street and knocked some woman off the bridge, and she had to get a bunch of metal rods and stuff on her back. So I think she had, like, I don't know if she's paralyzed or she had trouble walking, or she had he damn near killed somebody. So he in jail for that. But what ATL Tay is doing is he's making content behind bars and getting mad because he's making content with certain people, and then there's people that want to hunch him. And he's at a place where it's like, oh, I don't want to be doing stuff with everybody. And they're trying to harass him in some sort of way. It's not the same thing. Tokeyo said when he went to jail, because he had to prove himself, some dude tried to step to him, someone who said he was a boxer. He said he knocked the dude out. Once you sit and you go up in there and you prove yourself, ain't nobody gonna mess with you. So Tokeyo had to go up in there and I understand how those boys are. When you are someone who's got a bit of femininity up in you and you grew up in the hood, you got to be able to fight. You got to learn how to fight. And that's how I was when I was a kid. I used to get in mad fights when I was little because people called me the F word and called me all these names and stuff. So I had to learn how to defend myself. So I totally get where that's from. So that's why I don't like when some of y'all content creators get up here, because I was like, I got to defend on what he's saying. Yeah, on the surface, we should not be glorifying prison. Maybe the bigger argument is, what are these people that work in the prisons that pretty much are using this as like some way of making money? Because that's basically what prison is. Prison is the new goddamn slavery. When they're making so much money off these people being in jail, maybe that's the real conversation we should be having, instead of going in on a homosexual that went up in there and said it was like the Disneyland of dick. Because I could pretty much get whatever I wanted, and I love being spoiled. I like having all this attention, and I didn't want to go back to living on the streets and being homeless and going through these other things, because 3 hots and a cot and getting spoiled is way more fun than me being a bum and a nobody out in the damn street. So I totally got where he was coming from with that. So I just didn't like, so regardless of how y'all feel, here's the thing. I do love the fact that I applaud him and appreciate him for his shameless honesty. Now, I know a lot of people just can't take when you unfiltered. My mouth, y'all know, is unfiltered. So a lot of people can't take it when you say things and say, well, damn, I be able to say it like that. Because how else am I going to say it? I don't know any other way of saying it. So, that's what he did. It was like, you know what? He milked it for all it was worth. And that's that. So that's all I wanted to say on that, because And I think what inspired this video is that some friends of mine in the group chat basically was bringing this up and saying that I should, and I still love you, Nico, but I just wanted to say, like, I had to put this out here because I just didn't feel like the equation of him and ATL Tay, I just didn't feel like it didn't work for me. Because they were saying, like, not to say, he said, because one of my friends texted, and I ain't gonna tell you who, said you should call him out, not to say, because I said to me, I was just like, how I was irritated because we was having a conversation. One of my friends said because I sent them the video about Tokeyo. It was saying prison is a Disneyland for gay people and what his Nico's video because they watched his video as well. And he said, we saw it yesterday. I really think people are not seeing it from a different perspective. I actually understood what Tokeyo was saying. And I was like, I was actually irritated by what his reporting on what Tokeyo said. He and Tay are not the same. Tokeyo wasn't making content in prison. He loved I said he loved the attention because I realized I misspelled the word. He loved the attention and was also a drug addict. I also didn't like how he didn't credit Matthew, but I meant to put that. And then one of my friends was like, you should call him out, not to say really starting something, which I wasn't. That's why I was real careful in what I say. It's no shade, but I'm just saying. But I think others would agree. I didn't particularly like how Nico looks down on sex workers that are from the streets. Yeah, they ghetto, but it doesn't mean they don't deserve respect. He thinks he's better than other sex workers because he's doing work with Raheem. I don't even get on that because I already had a conversation with a friend of mine that likes to refer to Nico as Spicy Telemundo. And be feeling like that he could be a little colorist and stuff in his ways as well. I don't feel like that's what I get from him, that there's some colorism stuff up in there. That's a whole nother comment. You get with these homo taps, which are basically like the gay version of hotaps, where they come in and they feel like they could just they feel a ways that they don't like any kind of interracial mixing, where it's like I'm a product of mixed race. So I'm not against interracial relationships, but if you're gonna get in a relationship with somebody for the sake of trying to look down upon your own people and to big up the white person or whichever racially ambiguous person you're in a relationship with, I don't like those type of Negroes. I don't. I just feel like I'm all for interracial relationships, but don't try to tear down your own people to lift them up. So that's all I wanted to say on that. That wasn't part of the docket. I was like, I added that at the last minute, but I was just like, yeah, I might have to cut this up and put it on social media.